18 years. It's just unbelievable. I'm not here on behalf of the foundation nor myself. I'm here on behalf of all those first responders who lost their lives that day and to over 600 firefighters and police officers who've lost their lives due to 9/11 cancer. The sacrifices are still being made today, and unfortunately, they will continue to be made. My story is a very simple one. At your gym on my day off, when I saw the tower was struck by the second plane, I made my way in to ground zero. It was catastrophic. Not too many survivors. The guys were digging on the pile and trying to get the injured out. It seemed like every 15 minutes, an air horn went off, and we were told to take cover. More planes are coming in. Until a short time later, planes were overhead. There were F-18 fighter jets, and that was just a magnificent feeling. We were able to continue our rescue effort. It was the worst time of day for the New York City firefighters. It was the change of tours. The night tour was coming off, and the day tour was coming on, which meant that we had twice as many firefighters in the firehouse and twice as many firefighters responded. Make no mistake, that was, on that day, by all the first responders, the greatest rescue attempt on American soil. What do I mean by that? Those emergency staircases were so narrow that if one injured body was there, it clogged all those staircases up all the way. All those elevators were all out of service, and the guys in the equipment with their tools assisted the civilians to get out and come out of the building. It was a catastrophic day. People were jumping out of the building. Our forces were dealt a very, very difficult deed to do. I'm just going to talk about a couple of our firefighters who were killed that day. Father Michael Judge, the FDNY chaplain, was one of the first members killed. The chief of department, in charge of over 10,000 firefighters, Pete Gansey, an Army Ranger, served in Vietnam, the best of the best. Pete survived the first collapse. His staff told him to evacuate north. He would not hear of it. He dusted himself off. He set his command back up. And Pete was killed with most of his staff when the second building collapsed. Father and sons. We lost fathers and sons that day. From Rescue 1, Dennis Mojica. He was off duty, responding from home. His son, Manuel Mojica, from Squad 18, was working that day. They were both killed that day. Joe Angelini Sr., over 40 years of service, most of them in Rescue 1. Joe was retiring within a week. Joe was killed, along with his son, Joe Jr., who was working in a Midtown company, Ladder 4. Brothers, Harvey Harrell, a lieutenant from Rescue 5, responded from home. Harvey's brother, Stephen Harrell, from Ladder 157 from Brooklyn, responded from home. Both killed. John Vigiano, a firefighter from Brooklyn, Ladder 132, was killed. So was his brother, Joseph Viggiano, an emergency service police officer. The mother and the father lost their only 2 children. John's father, John Viggiano, was one of our most decorated firefighters in our history. John Viggiano passed around 6 months ago from 9/11 cancer in the search for his sons. My cousin Mike, 22 years old, 6 months on the New York City Fire Department. Those are just some of the stories. There were so many heroes, PD, FD, EMS, civilians, that did a magnificent job that day. What sticks in my mind as the days progressed, when we were still searching for survivors, when we took a break and we walked up to the food tents, probably on Broadway, or whatever building or fence there was there were thousands of pictures and photos. Please call me, missing. These are all the civilians that were missing and lost, and their loved ones were looking for some type of accountability. In closing, if we forget what happened that day, they win. But I know, as we see here today, that will never happen. Our motto, never forget. A few days after the attack, some artist drew a depiction of firefighters on their knees in the rubble, handing an American flag over to our service members. We passed the torch of freedom to our military, who have made tremendous sacrifices over these last 18 years, keeping us free. Adam, Sarah, welcome to your new home. God bless you, Adam. God bless you, Sarah. God bless you all here today. God bless the Stephen Silla Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And God bless America. Thank you very much.